Welcome to episode 10 of the Vox Chatter Podcast, the podcast series where we discuss everything Warhammer 40k related with a focus on fun and casual play. I am Count Hillary, and tonight I am joined by Brett Smith,
as always,
and Kyle Knox.
Hello!
Every episode we start by discussing a main topic, usually an aspect of the hobby that we thought that would be interesting or fun to talk about. Tonight's topic is going to be how we go about building army lists. And after that, we'll be discussing some of our favourite moments from our recent games of Warhammer 40k. And then finally, we'll be talking about the many new and upcoming releases and announcements, including the new lineup of 40k codexes and the new class of Imperial Knight. But before that, we're going to jump straight into the main topic on how we build army lists. And there's many different approaches to take. Now, we're not going deep into, this is the best way to build army lists, you should always do this. We're just discussing like the basic principles that we usually go to when we first pick up a codex or an army and decide, right, where am I going to start? How do I decide about what I want to do with this army?
For me personally, it's usually just a theme of a book which has jumped out at me. So, for example, my orcs, the reason that I run an orc war is whenever I used to look at an orc in real life, whenever I used to look at the orc book or read about orcs, it's how they were always described, and it was how, you never really read about orcs other than hordes and hordes and hordes of orcs charging at guardsmen, and I just remember thinking, I'm going to do that, I am going to do that, how do I do that? So I just sat down, and it wasn't even so much as, I think the first time I looked at the codex, I didn't even look at what was in the codex beyond infantry. My aim is to come with a horde of orcs and see if you can kill them or if I can kill you.
To be fair, I do always think those games are fun. No matter what army I bring to fight your orc war, it is always a fun game.
No, it's fun. I always lose, but it's like that army for me is sort of the epitome of I had an idea of this is what I want my army to be, screw how good it's going to be on the table, how do I put it on the table? So I just sat down and went, right, logically to run an orc horde, need big mobs of boys.
Yep, that is pretty much the starting point. That's one thing which I think is a good jumping off point is whenever I start thinking about building a list from the ground up, I go, right, battalion.
Yeah.
What are my 3 troops and my 2 HQs going to be? And a lot of armies don't realistically have a huge range of troop choices. And you quite often build around a particular core unit, just like, right, 3 of Orc Mob, 3 of Necron Warriors. Yeah. Whatever, and then you sort of decide, right, do I go all in on doing Necron Warriors, so am I then looking at multiple Cryptex, Ghost Arcs, Command Barges, or do I just go, right, those are my screening units, and they're going to be protecting Doomsday Arcs, and
my Mortals, protecting my Met Guns.
My crew and Fire Warriors are protecting everything that's sat in the castle.
Yeah, I think that's a driving force for me personally as a theme, because, for example, the other list that I would bother talking about that I have is I refer to it as the Emperor's Children list. And I want to do
the list that lives on the paint station.
Oh yeah, it will be on the table eventually, but that list is actually written. That's an example of where I wrote a list before I bought anything, and the difference is with my orcs, I pretty much knew what I wanted it to be on the tabletop before I sat down and figured out the points. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like, it has to be a lot of bodies. Now let's figure out how I get the bodies in and still probably make it usable on the table.
And that's where I started off with Tau. I went, whoa, look at Tau. Battle suits are awesome. So I was like, don't care about everything else. I just want an army which has mass battle suits. So, when I first started building the army, it was like, right, this is going back a couple editions, but it was literally, that philosophy hadn't changed, how can I get as many battle suits in my army as possible, what's my tax, so now you can sort of go, right, I'd like some, there's multiple different ways you can build an army, isn't there? You can go, I want to maximise on command points, and then from there get some good units in, or I'm not bothered about how many command points I have. I just want to maximise on the good units, or I want to run this type of theme. You know, or where do I want to start? Do I want to start with my troops? Do I want to start with my elites? You know, and
I think when it comes to command points, there's usually two good approaches, and it's either one, I want X many command points, so I'm going to use, detachments A, B, C. Now, how do I fill those compulsories? Or you think about command points after you've planned your army, and you go, right, these are the units I want to include. This is my army, and it might be like 90% there. And then you look at it and go, right, with my remaining 10%, how do I actually configure those units into an optimal set of detachments?
I mean, and sometimes that changes after, like, when I played you the other day, I had an army which had, like, loads of command points, and I pretty much found that I was struggling to get through them all, and then I'm like, right, I can rejig my army list, because I don't actually need this amount of command points, because what's the point of having them if you're just struggling to get through them?
Yeah.
You've built your army so you can have all these command points, and it's just like, well, if I change units around, I can...
The only reason you ended up spending out that game was because we were playing Deadlock, so the command points all doubled in cost from turn 3.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have spent up. I think twice you went to above your starting amount of command points.
Yeah, that was quite lucky, really. I effectively stole 2 off you before the game even began.
Yeah, I used I made a tank, a commissar tank, and I used a preliminary bombardment. So I used 2 stratagems before the first turn, and he stole a command point for both.
Yeah, that sounds like Brett Nolan, yeah. But, I mean, that's the approach I sort of took with the Paint Station Emperor's Children list. Was I had it pretty much what I wanted, because I went right. Basically, I read Fulgrim of the Horus Heresy, and I'd always liked Emperor's Children from the sort of narrative, but the limited narrative, that was what I was looking for, limited. The limited narrative that I knew of them. I mean, I read Fulgrim and just went, yeah, this is the army I want to run for them. Like especially pre-Heresy, where their main flaw is they want to be perfection embodied. It's like, that's what I want to try and represent, that's what I want to have. So, Chaos book, because I refused to buy a Space Marine book. Personal choice, don't think anyone's wrong for buying them, just I refuse to have a loyalist Space Marine army. Bought the Chaos book and went, obvious choice, I'm going to run a minimum of 3 Knights Marines, because I want a battalion of Knights Marines. Then I went, logically the Helldrake shouldn't go in there. But it is a dragon.
Yeah.
It's a flying dragon.
Yeah, we've mentioned your love for the Helldrake before.
It's a dragon!
Giant flying mechanical robot dragon.
Oh, it's awesome!
Do you like dragons, Cal?
Yes, I love dragons. I love anything which is even remotely geeky, and how can you say a dragon isn't geeky? It's a goddamn dragon. And then, basically, I managed to get everything in the list that I thought would work well, plus Helldrake. And I thought fit the Emperor's Children play style, and I looked at it and went, I think I had about 200 points, and I was like, I could probably spend it on a Predator, but then I've got a lone Predator. So instead I just thought, actually, what I can do is I can just put another battalion detachment in full of cultists and get 3 more command points, which then allows me to shoot twice again. So that was a mix of both. It was a mix of me going, I want to do this with the army, and then going, right, okay, to actually be better on the tabletop, I'll still stick to the theme of Emperor's Children, because I'll just make the cultists look Emperor's Children. I won't use the Chaos Cultist models, but it makes sense to have those extra 3 command points.
Even like you choosing your chapter tactics can go down to like writing your list. Like, you can choose your army based off, I just want to do Ultramarines, so I'm not bothered about what their ruling is, I just want to do Ultramarines. Or you could look at the rulings for all the chapters or Tau Sept, Eldar, Craft Worlds, Necron Dynasties. You can have a look at all of them and you can go, right, this rule really suits my play style. So I'm going to build an army around that. Or you, like I say, you can or if you go, like Ultramarines, or say, it's a bad one to choose because it's very generic. You know, like, Salamanders. I like Salamanders, so I'm going to use their chapter trait, but, you know, do I pick a Devastator squad or do I pick a Predator? Well, you know, if you like, that could be another factor of it. Well, I like the look of a Predator, so I'll have a Predator, but if I'm going rules-wise, and I like the Salamander rules, I'll put a Devastator squad in because they benefit from it. So, you know, there's loads of factors to take in, and I think that's one of it's a big part of the hobby is building an army list. You know, you can...
I spend loads of time doing it.
Yeah, you can spend hours and hours doing it, you can spend loads of time refining it, or you can literally go, I'm writing this list, that's my list, take it or leave it.
I think the main thing I get from the way that I start list building, I don't know if everyone else is different, but whenever I tend to write an army list, it's spurred by a theme. So I very rarely sit down and go, what would be the absolute best army I can put out? So I have an orc list that I've written, and it is a mechanised orc list. So there's not a single war boss in the list. It's just led by big mechs with custom force fields.
That's quite cool.
I find that if I don't have a particular theme in mind, I usually have a particular either unit or approach to the army that I want to use, and then like build from there. So for example, like in my Necrons, I include 2 units of Gauze Blaster armed Immortals because I think they're cool. Right. I think they're good in gameplay, and I like fielding 20 Gauze Blaster armed Immortals.
Yeah.
Then I've got that core of my army that I like. I go, right, well, what complements this and works well? And then that's where the 3rd squad get added, but they've got Teslas. Yeah. Because I want that variety in gameplay. But like the initial thing was like, I just think Gauze Blaster Immortals are really cool, so I want a bunch.
Yeah.
And then I go, right, well, if I'm taking them because I want to take them, what else do I need to take to provide balance in the list?
Yeah.
I'm not just going to take 10 units of Gauze Blaster Immortals and go, there's my army, because I think they're cool.
Yeah.
It's like, I've included something I want to include.
But now I need to make the list work.
Yeah, I run a monolith in my army because it's a monolith and I think it's awesome.
But I do think that the monolith is just a mainstay. Like, if you don't have a monolith in your Necron army, you're really playing Necrons.
These days...
Just because that was the only thing you could do back in the day. Like every Necron army ever used to see. No, and that's what I mean. Like, that's why it feels like... But that's what it feels like, because that's when I did Necrons. Yeah. You know, when literally you had 3 units to maybe 4 units to your army, you went Necron Warriors, Destroyers, Monolith, and maybe one of the Catans. Like, I used to run the Deceiver, I used to love that guy. But that's because the range in the army, you didn't have a lot. So I think when you say Necrons, you always think of a Monolith in an army. You know, like, when someone says Space Marines, I never think of one specific unit that I'd expect every Space Marine army to see.
Do you know what I do think is the thing that jumps to mind when someone says Space Marine army? The Rhino.
Yeah, well, that's just like the standard transport, though, isn't it?
But that's the thing. Is like it's rare that I ever expect to see a Space Marine army, and there won't be. I mean, these days it's more Razorback than Rhino, but that standard chassis thing, like. By comparison, when someone says Guard, I don't think Chimera.
I think Lima Russ.
I think Lima Russ, yeah. When someone says Eldar, Falcon doesn't jump to mind.
Wave Serpent.
It's Wave Serpent.
It's always transport.
Right?
Lima Russ isn't transport.
Yeah, Lima Russ isn't a transport.
No, it's not.
Tank. Like, Chaos, the thing that jumps to mind for me there, just when you say Chaos, is Demon Prince.
Yeah, you always see Demon Prince, yeah.
And stuff like that. So, you know, there's some stuff that is very defining. Just because throughout the editions they've been cool. And you want to include them. Like, I love including Demon Princes in my Demon army. One of the core building elements of my Demons at the moment is I want a Bloodthirster. That my list just starts with, right, so in today's demon list, where does the Bloodthirster go?
Yeah,
You know, that's the start of the
building
list.
one that I want it to be mainly Nurgle, but how do I get a Bloodthirster in there?
Well, it's like with me, I've got quite an extensive tile collection, and you know, you want to use multiple different units, so I've been writing a couple of different lists up, like, you know, one of them is the Riptide Wing, so it's like based around 3 Riptides. Now that army pretty much builds itself. So I want 3 Riptides, right, that's 900 points. I have 3 Riptides, they need, I don't want them to get las cannon to death or heavy weapons to death turn 1 if I don't go first, so I need drones to protect them. So I'll get some drones, right. What else would make Riptides good? Right, I will then go with a commander, because turn 1 they can all not move and just all have rerolls to hit. Right, so that's that sorted. What else would I like in there? Right, well, I'd like a load of fire warriors to give me command points and give me just some grunts on the ground firepower. So I'll have 50
Grunts on the ground.
fire warriors. And also perform, and they'll act as a bit of a shield. Right, what else do I want? I really like the look of the Ghost Keel. So, seeing as I'm having it as a big robot army, I'll have the Ghost Keel in there as well. And then that's sort of built itself. And then on the other hand, I'm like, right, I've got some other models that I'm not using. So then I call it like my Scout Cadre. So it's like 2 squads of stealth suits with 3 squads of Pathfinders. The Ghost Kills are in that one as well. Fire Warriors, obviously, they stable troops. But I've also got some Kroot in there because they move before the game and they're like a scouting force, the Kroot. So then you've got a lot of units which are moving before the game begins or deploying, not in your deployment. So it's very much like a scouting army.
Yeah, so that's cool.
So that's, you know... so you want to use different models in your collection, but also can force you to build different lists.
Well, the other thing that I tend to do these days is when I get to the end of a list where I've gone like, right, I've included, you know, X units 1, 2 and 3 because I think they're cool and I want to use them or just particularly enjoy them. I've included units 4, 5 and 6 because those complement units 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right, and then I'm like, right, I've now put them into my detachments, so I've got my rough basis of command points. I pretty much never want to turn up to a game with less than 7 with more or less any army. Because like the bare minimum tends to be your battalion and then 1 extra.
Yeah, you haven't done very well at writing a list if you've turned up with less than 7, really.
No, you can't say that because some armies are built differently. So
how would you turn up with less than 7? It'd be a battalion where you've just thrown everything in.
Yeah, but what happens if you want to run like Death Guard Ravenwing army? And you've got no troops in there, so you haven't got a battalion, so you've got like Outrider and Vanguard detachments.
If you've got none of that, you probably have like 3 detachments, which are still rocking up at 6.
Yeah.
Six or 7.
For me, I think 6 is like the minimum.
Yeah, 6 is minimum, and 7's where I tend to like to be at. Like, personally, 7's where I like to be at as a minimum.
So, like my Marines, I only have 6 because I don't have the room to fit in a 3rd HQ.
Yeah.
You know, I've got what I want in my army.
I usually go for about 8.
You know, Marines, I don't have cheap characters. You know, Lieutenant is your cheapest one at like 70 points, I think. You know, as compared to like a Tau Fireblade or... You know, even Eldar have cheap HQ. They've got Warlocks at 35 points. So you can throw in a couple of them and really rack up some command points.
But once I've done all that and I've got like the key elements of my list together, what I tend to do is I then go back over it and review it, and I almost have like a little internal checklist to see if this includes the things I like to include in an army.
Does it have anti-tank?
Yeah, the basic stuff like, right, do I have anti-infantry? Do I have anti-tank?
Are you a bit like me when you're writing a list you can get carried away?
And you end up going, I really like 4 of these things, or like 2 of these things, and 1 of that, and none of this, and then I go back and
I have nothing to do with tanks or infantry. That's a big part for my list build.
Any tank options on the table is dead. I do hope I don't turn up with a squad of more than 5 men.
Yeah. So if I'm playing a tank heavy army, can I deal with all the tanks? If Kyle rocks up with his orcs, can I take on a mass infantry army. If James turns up with his NIDS, which is a combination of everything, can I fight that? If Lewis has his AdMech with all his servitors, his robots, you know, do I have lots of mid-range killer? You know, I like to. I like to be able to do a lot. You know, if you say there were 5 different types of armies you came across, I'd like to think that I'd at least ticked I could play against, you know, 3 minimum. You know.
Yeah. And hold your own against the other 2.
Yeah.
Because what I tend to do is I almost checklist based on game rules and mechanics. So I tend to sit like. So yeah, you look at things like, do I have anti-tank, do I have anti-infantry, do I have this, do I have that? You know, that's the sort of standard stuff. But I sort of go 1 level deeper sometimes and go, right, how do I deal mortal wounds?
Well, yeah.
Right, how do I deny psychic powers? Do I have any indirect fire? You know...
Yeah, some armies, you know, has that option completely removed from you, like...
Yeah.
My Marines have no indirect fire. Not that isn't in the codex, but it's very limited in the codex. Whereas my Tau has smart missile systems for days, but I can't stop a single psychic power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My Eldar does a lot of psychic, and as well when I build lists, I like to make sure that each army is doing sort of different things. You know, I don't want to turn up and feel like I'm playing the same army just in different skins of races.
Yeah, and...
Almost like turning up and going, here's my 25 Devastators, and then here's my 25 Dark Reapers, and then, oh, here's my army of Broadsides. Look at me, I'm playing the same army, just...
And I was starting to think that as a good number of 8th edition codexes have come out, there was possibly an edge of copy and paste starting to sneak into like every army where it didn't really matter what you were doing or which army book you were using. You were going, I'm going to have a battalion and a spearhead. I'm going to have, you know, so it's like, I'm going to have 3 screening units. I'm then going to have 2 big tanks. I'm going to have 1 Lord of War. I'm going to have this, that, and the other. And it doesn't matter if, you know, one side of the table was 3 units of Space Marine Scouts with Gulliman and I don't know, Predator backup, and Hellblasters. If across the table from it there was 3 units of Storm Guardians and the Yvain and 2 Fire Prisms backed up by Dark Reapers. Yeah. Like, you know, technically those armies are practically mirrors of each other.
Yeah,
you know,
just in different skins.
Yeah, in different skins. And the only real difference was, are you an army whose core battalion is a battalion, or is it a brigade? You know, are you playing Guard or Orcs, or are you playing Marines or Eldar, sort of thing? Are you bringing more or less command points?
Yeah.
But, very interestingly, with the new Drukhari Codex...
Yeah, when I saw the Patrol Detachment one, for some reason, like, the Outrider came to mind, but the Patrol, like...
It's all gonna change.
It is all gonna change.
And that's gonna change, I think, people's views on soup.
Yeah,
so have an option.
So, just briefly to explain it, basically, in the new Drukhari Codex, they've introduced a new match play rule explicitly for them, which allows you to take multiple patrol detachments. And if your army contains 3 or more patrol detachments, you get +4 command points, even though patrol detachments normally themselves don't provide any.
Once you hit 6 patrol detachments, you actually go up to 8 command points. So
8 plus your 3.
Yeah.
So what that equates to is you've had to pay for 6 HQ and 6 troops minimum. So there is a tax on it, but that's all you have to put in. You get 8, so you've got 11 command points.
Do they have a basically spammable HQ? Is it the
We don't know yet. I know because...
No, but I mean in the index, you can go sort of points in index. Do they have a cheap HQ?
They're all cheap, that's the thing. They're all only like 50 to 60 points most.
Your Archon's about...
Yeah, but then when you're saying you've got to take 6, you're going, I've got 300 points on HQ, which aren't necessarily going to be doing anything.
Well,
if you're just spamming a cheapish character, like... I'll go with Eldar, because obviously they're very much like Dark Eldar. Or Eldari and Drukhari, sorry, for newer players. The Eldari have a Warlock, 35 point HQ, which, if I wanted to take 6 of, I'm looking at spending 210 points. But if your character's coming in at 50 to 60 points, basic, you're looking at spending 300 points just for a bare bones character to get mass command points.
But
you still do have the option of taking a brigade and stuff, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you've got all the normal options, but you've got one more with them because
you patrol, but before it's like, why would you take it?
Yeah,
it was used to squeeze in something that you couldn't fit elsewhere, basically.
But it makes patrols worth taking, and the thing that it does as well is the stratagem that for 1 command point I get 3 warlord traits.
Yeah.
If I have a
if
I have a cabal, if I have a cabal, a coven. So basically, if I have a cabal, a coven, or a cult, which is what we're going to be called in it, then I can have a warlord trait on a archon, a succubus, and a homunculus. So that's 3 patrol detachments you're going to take, because you might as well, if you're going to take those 3 HQ, you might as well throw in a troops choice from a cabal, a coven, and a succubus. For what's that going to run? So say 60 points each, 180. Then I know a unit of 10 witches because it said so on the Warhammer community page. That's 80 points. So you're going to come up to 260. So you're going to be looking at 350, 400 points for that patrol. And I've just got 4 command points. I'm on 7 command points with 3 warlord traits.
But here's the really clever part that I like about it is, so your 3 patrols means you're turning up with 3 troops and 3 HQs, and that's going to net you 7 command points.
Yeah.
That's not a world of difference for any other army taking a battalion that rocks up with 3 troops and 2 HQs and has 6 command points. It's a different approach to the army build, but it's on par with other armies. What you're going to see for most
HQ.
Yeah, you get you say 1 extra HQ, you're on 1 command point up, and if you spend that 1 command point on your 3 warlord traits, you've profited more warlord traits.
Yeah.
It's very clever, and I'm quite pleased they've done something like this, because it shows they're actually going to be a little bit inventive with how armies are built up in the future.
We were talking about what the war with the tower and how they were talking about the seps, and when they briefly came out with the seps saying before they would give us the rules, and it was like, well, it very much felt like the Dalith were going to just be the standard -1 to hit. Here's the -1 to hit.
I'm glad they didn't do
rule
that.
Out of the army, and then me and Kyle were saying this, And then they went, actually, if you don't move, you just count as being in cover. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. That's something different. It's something we haven't seen yet before.
Yeah, I'm glad that they are still trying to come up with new traits.
I was very impressed with all the Necron ones, because I didn't think any of them felt like they'd been copy and pasted from previous books.
Some of the
closest one was if you advance, so you get assault weapons. That's basically
the same as the Tau,
and a bit like Black Legion.
Yeah.
That was the only one that had similarities.
Feel very similar, although granted to them they've had to come up with 10.
Yeah, coming up with 10 of them across the book is pretty good.
Because there's that as well, which is awesome. You've got
there's 10 different.
There's
10 different
there's
chapters.
4 cabals. There's 3 witch cults and 3 homunculus covens. So you've got 10 faction choices, and you're going to be playing them in multiple patrols. Yeah,
I reckon you're going to see at least a minimum of 2 cabals, 1 common, and 1
wave.
Oh, that's interesting though, because don't tournaments put a 3 detachment cap?
Typically, a lot of tournament organisers currently, enforce a 3 detachment cap at 2,000 points, which would be awkward for Dark Eldar in that regard, but you would just take the 3 patrols and then just max out your patrols.
Yeah, because you can put other stuff in patrols.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say they can't even sort of say, you can do that, but
we'll make an exception for this race.
Yeah, or even if it just says, well, you can take as many patrols as you want, because then you just open Tower Commander spam again.
Yeah. I think it's the introduction of that, what's it called? Raiding Force rule, which is the one that lets you take 3 patrols and gain command points.
I thought that was really cool.
It's very cool.
It's very Dark Eldar, because they're not just...
You're not going to have 1 cabal turn up. Because we were talking about this, weren't we? One Cabal wouldn't send their entire like armed sort of
Armed forces.
standing army out to a guard outpost, because if it all does go horribly wrong,
The Cabal's dead.
Cabal's just going to get wiped out. So what they'll do is they'll hear about a space raid and be like, I will lend you a raider with a unit of my Cabal for 10% of the profits.
It feels like everyone sat round the table planning the heist in all your heist films. It's like, right, we're going to get in these guys because they're brilliant with the flyer. So we're going to get a flayed skull pilot, and he's going to lend his Razorwing from the Black Cart. But then they're insisting that they come along to be part of the raid so they can get some of the spoils. So we're going to have to account for them, those guys. We're going to have to make space for them in the raider. Then we're going to have to bring this witch cult with us because we need them to be able to hold up the weapons, like the big guns.
Plus the flyer audio, the flayed skull owes money to a witch cult, and if we don't take them with us...
Yeah, we owe them a favour. Yeah. It's like, but I'm going to call it a favour with a homunculus coven. That allows me this, it feels brilliant, this idea of them all working.
It does, and it's really good, They're doing something completely different, but completely to the narrative, and that's something that I think they've captured in all the codexes so far. They've got the narrative right.
Yeah.
They've got the narrative to that army right. I haven't looked at a single one and gone, no, that don't feel right.
Yeah.
Alright, some are more overpowered than others, but that's...
I think that's going to be, if you do it right...
You're always going to get that.
I
don't think there's going to be a game ever made where everything is balanced.
You can break any game. You can break Xbox games, you can break computer games, so why... I don't know why people are so...
Complain when, oh look, I found a way to break something. Of course you have. That's what people do.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's, everything's narrative.
My prediction in the future, and it might be after all the indexes have codexes and they're looking to what do we do next with 8th edition, might be that they start introducing unique detachments to codexes.
I don't think they'll go detachments, because then you're going to go back to what we had end of 7th edition.
You're going back to formations.
Yeah, you're going back to formations. But
maybe that's how you get formations right.
No.
What about if your orcs got a detachment that had...
A bit like a battalion, but you instead of having to take 3 troops, you could take 2 troops, a fast attack, and do 2 HQ.
No, I was going to say, like, for the orcs, for example, if he could take a detachment that had 6 compulsory troops and gave you 7 command points, but those were the only compulsories, so it's not a brigade where you also need to have 3 elites, 3 heavies, 3 fasts. The orc one is... 1 HQ, because it's the orc, the biggest one, and 6 compulsory troops, but he gets 7 command points for it. Something like that. Because that's a midpoint between a battalion and a brigade.
Don't a brigade only give you 6?
Brigade gives you 9.
No, brigade gives you 9.
Oh, okay.
But you need to have, a total
of...
because
I suppose you could do
15 compulsory units.
One where it's like, you need 2 heavy, 2 elites, 2 fast,
no troops compulsory.
No troops.
But you've got to remember, they haven't done that for Drakari. All they've said is...
I know.
But I get what he's saying. He's saying there's a next step from that. They could do that, or you could see in other armies coming out.
But you could have... All you had to do, you could keep the same detachments, because all the detachments work for all the armies, but all it needs is a little tweak, so...
If you
Dark Angels, if you're running Ravenwing... if you're running Ravenwing and you run 3 Outrider detachments, generate 5 command points. Because
if you run an Outrider detachment, and what's the elite one?
Vanguard.
If you run an Outrider and a Vanguard detachment in your army, get 3 command points.
Yeah.
So you're giving them the command points because they're building Raven Guard Deathwing.
Yeah.
If you're you could say, I don't know, with a Tau army, if you run 2 Vanguard, is that the elite one?
Yeah.
Like, if you run in a Farsight Enclave army and you run 2 Vanguard, you get a bit more command points because that's represented in him having all his battle suits. They can do like what Kyle said, if you take these 2 formations or if you take 3 of this formation. I like how they've opened that up as a new thing that they can do that probably nobody thought of.
Yeah, because what we're not doing with saying if you take these formations, get an extra command point. is they're not saying you must use this. Like the Drakari one isn't saying you have to use patrols.
It's not even saying you have to use like which Coven Cabal.
No, it's not.
You can do 3 Cabal patrols and you still get that bonus.
Yeah, you still get the bonus. All it's saying is it's just that little bit extra. So I think that's what you're probably more likely to see is like if you run these, you'll get a bit extra.
I really like
any army.
I really like the suggestion for the Dark Angels, the one where if you're running a Vanguard and a Outrider detachment, you get like 2 extra command points or something because that's intended to be the Deathwing and the Ravenwing. I like that. That's a cool idea.
And you don't have to do that.
No, there could be any.
If you do it, you're basically pulling your command points back up to all the other armies.
Yeah. That'd be a cool way that they could get around it, and that'd completely change how you write army lists because it'd stop copy paste.
Yeah, and I think that's something that hopefully this might be the start of a new trend for in codexes moving forwards.
Because I definitely do copy paste still.
Like I say, I have my jumping off points.
Yeah, and your jumping off point is screen HQs,
and I'm sure all you guys listening do as well. And maybe we've come up with some nice new ideas for potential detachment formations and similar things in the future.
Oh, we've just chatted bollocks for the last half hour.
Like usual.
Like usual. But I've painted some stuff, so I feel good.
So yeah, speaking of things that we enjoy doing, favourite moments?
I haven't played a game again.
Well, get playing some games.
I think I'm going to try and play one tomorrow with Brett.
That'd be good.
If I play Kyle tomorrow, that'll be like my 4th game in fact, that'll be my 4th game in 2 weeks.
So surely then you must have some favourite moments.
Steamroller me. He's playing Tau versus my Orcs.
So I've had a couple of games. The Tau one's really weird because it's guns. It's not even like you have any significant guys which do anything. You just open fire and things get removed. I tend to find I get good moments out of my Marines or my Eldar because I've got more characters. So I played with my Marines the other day. So I got my brand new captain model out for the first time ever and demoted my previous captain to lieutenant. So I shot one of Lewis's 1960s space robots and he chose to pop his last command point to make it blow up. So it just went all spectacular. Like the veterans that got out of a tank that blew it up, 2 of them instantly died. His other robot took 3 damage, but it was like I'm not bothered because that was going to die anyway this turn. My lieutenant took 1 wound, but my warlord, my new primary captain with power fist plasma pistol, took 3. And I was just like, oh, that wasn't nice. So then, like, Cole then ran into the captain and just squished him. And the lieutenant survived 2 full combat rounds with Cole and got Cole down to the point where his last D3 that I had to roll through and I had no command points left. Cole was on 3 wounds.
Promoted the wrong guy, bro.
And I was like, this guy's just like, yo, you're not demoting me.
Yeah.
Look at what I'm doing.
He's proving his worth.
Yeah, and it literally came down to, but on the last D3 roll, I rolled a 1, not a 3.
Otherwise, he'd have killed Cole.
Otherwise, it'd have killed Cole. And that game came down to, at the end of the game, Lewis had 2 Skitarii and Cole, and I had 2 Devastator squads and a Razorback. A very heavily wounded Razorback. So, just the favourite moment out of that game was just that lieutenant, like, you should have kept me.
You stripped me of my strike.
It was running with the Teeth of Terror, like, which is an awesome weapon, but it was just like, yeah, ammo and everything.
The brand new kid on the block captain just fell
died.
over.
He didn't even swing his fist. He fired his plasma pistol and failed to wound. He turned up a tank up in his face going, God, I'm not ready for this, and then Cole just went to have an axe.
And then the lieutenant who's still annoyed the chapter masters.
Yeah, and then the most annoying thing, I used the command point to try and save the warlord and failed the reroll of 4+ for his invuln, right? Which then used my last command point, which I then needed for the lieutenant's kill call.
Yeah.
Yep, it's just how it goes.
So I was like, oh.
But that is quite funny, the idea that the recently demoted lieutenant who's clearly pissed off the chapter master somehow. He's just like, nope, you were a fool to demote me and bring in this new kid. I'll show you how it's done. Whereas then, I know my favourite moment. Mine recently was in the game against your Eldar. And
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we hadn't brought that game up. I've got a favourite moment from that one too. I've had 5 games in 3 weeks.
Yeah, you've been rocking
I'm on
games
fire.
recently. Yeah, so in that game, one of the recent stratagems I've just fallen in love with for my guard is combine squads. I love actually just mobbing my infantry up into bigger and bigger units. And we were playing the Concealed Orders mission, so we didn't know what each other's objectives were until we completed them. And I just really liked the idea of high command thinking they were being really clever and really smart, and then like my commanding officers going, "We're so clever, they'll never know what we're doing," because secretly I'd rolled up secure objective 6 and I had like 2 squads of 10 guardsmen around and some command guys, so it wasn't obvious at all when I then proceeded to mob both units of guardsmen up into one big blob of 20, stand them all in concentric circles base to base around objective marker 6, and have an astropath cast mental fortitude on them so they couldn't fail morale. And they're all, so they couldn't fail morale and they're all in cover. And we just sat there going, "This is our objective. You are not taking it away from us."
Man, you like it, but it is mine.
But you know what the really funny thing more of that? That big mob of 20 guardsmen couldn't kill 5 Die Avengers.
No,
and then
but they didn't need to.
It wasn't what their orders were.
Yeah, but then proceeded to die, and the Die Avengers were stood there like, okay, this was weird.
But had they claimed the objective by that point?
Yeah.
So
the game was pretty much like the Imperial Guard were stomping off on objectives, and the Eldar were just like, "Kill you filthy humans! Kill you filthy humans!"
It was the fact that your Avengers stepped round the corner and were just firing blades into these like horde of 20 men. And I can just imagine you going, well, back to the usual, die. Why are they not again afraid? Die. Why are they not routing yet?
To thing on them as well, to give them +1 save, so they're in cover, so it's like we're shooting them, and it's like, hang on, these guys have got 3 up armour saves.
There's 20 of them, they're fearless, so just go, this is our objective.
No, you know what, in fact, there were some really good, cool moments in that game. It was quite a cool game, really, wasn't it?
I just thought it was really funny that I had to defend this objective for 2 turns, so I just literally surrounded it with 20 bodies, base to base, so you couldn't even move other objective secured units to it. You couldn't get within 3 inches of the objective until you killed the guys.
And they weren't running.
They weren't running, they were entrenched.
One thing that I always find really, really funny with you, though, whenever I play your guard, there's one of your 3 astropaths, regardless of what game it is, never misses. Hits on a 6, hit, wounded. Why is this guy always making me take a tripping out save?
They're going to last pistols because they're blind, they don't have eyes, they're BS 6+, but they always seem to land a hit.
Well, the thing is, it's not just the same astropath in the game, like, it might be astropath number 1 will hit and wound, and then next turn, astropath 3 will hit and wound, and I'm like, how? How is this statistically happening?
Because you're shooting 3 shots every time.
It is funny, I do enjoy my
I mean, how could anyone possibly roll that many 6s?
But it's the fact that it's a blind guy.
I don't know what you're on about, Kyle. I really do.
We're not going back into this. I'm just saying you don't get to moan about 6s being rolled.
Each month, there are a number of new and upcoming releases from Games Workshop, and we like to take a look at some of them and discuss our thoughts on them. So, the big thing announced in the last week or so was the new lineup for the next 3 codexes. We've recently just had Tau, Necrons are literally going on sale this week, and Drukhari go on sale next week.
Yeah. So
we've gone through that cycle of recent announcements, and the next 3 codexes, we don't know the release order yet, but they are Deathwatch, Imperial Knights, and Harlequins. So
what you necessarily call your smaller forces.
Yeah, we've just had a batch of Xenos codexes, and now this is the batch of small codexes.
Well, that'll finish off the Eldar when the Harlequins come out, which will be
until they decide to actually do a Ynnari codex.
Yeah, I think they need to do... I think they're holding off on that because they're really trying to get the rule right.
Yeah, they're trying to get the armies correct before they give it a full book.
And I'm interested to see what they're going to do, because unless they just basically go... here's all the army books together, or I don't know what they're going to do.
Like of the three, I think the one that's going to be the least noticed, to be fair, is probably going to be the Harlequin one. It's just because come and go. Here's your rules. You've got a codex. Here's your stratagems.
Imperial Knights is going to be pushed because
you're getting a new model.
You're getting two new models. Two effectively, yeah. So let's talk about that.
No, it said there's going to be more.
Well, yeah, probably more.
The thing on the Warhammer community page, it said that we're going to have more selections than ever before, including the Warglaive.
Yeah. Have you not seen the
new one? The new big knight, the one that's bigger than the current knight.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they've got a brand new knight. It's bigger than the current knight. It's got 2 gun arms. One is a massive plasma cannon. It's got 2 metal guns next to its head. So like auto cannon things on its shoulders. Some rockets on its back. A big plasma cannon and a big like macro cannon thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's basically...
You've basically got 3 tiers now to Titans. You've got the Warglaives.
The Knights.
The Warglaives, the Knights, and that thing.
Yeah, so you've got your small, fast attack, nippy little Warglaives. You've got your standard troop choice core option Imperial Knight. And then you've got like your heavy one. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's also going to be a distinct HQ one. It probably won't have a different model, but it'll be like you've got a particular class of pilot who's like the head of the household or something.
Yeah, because it all seems to be different.
So
you've got daddy and mum and then the little kids running around in the Warglaives.
It's all just different. It's different ranks and ability, isn't it? That's all pilot knights.
But it's interesting. This feels, although it's going to be like 1 entry per like unit type, as it were. It feels more like a codex than it was last time around, a couple of years ago.
Here's the Imperial Knight Codex. You can run a knight.
Yeah.
We've made them points effective, so you can have 5 of them in an army. There you go, codex done.
Yeah. No, this one actually does feel a little bit like there's some diversity to what you can do with them. There's going to be households.
You have a scout knight. I love that Warglaive thing. I think it's cool.
I think it looks very cool. I think it's a shame it doesn't really have options. It just... it suffers from? It suffers from the Hellbrute issue. It's like, here's this model. This model comes with a multi-belter. So basically its options are a multi-belter. It's a very good multi-belter, but it feels like it should have a bunch of things on it. Like, when you've got the Taurox Prime... vehicle for Scions that can ride around with a mini battle cannon. If they can mount one on a little like track unit, why can they not mount a mini battle cannon on the Warglaive?
Yeah. Never know, might bring it out for Imperial Knights Codex.
I'm surprised it doesn't have similar.
They might do it when it comes out in its multi-part kit.
Maybe.
They normally do it in
Forge Bane, isn't it?
Yeah, they normally go, this is Forge Bane, this is your intro box, you're getting discounted price models, but you're not getting the full model.
Yeah, look at your Primaris Interceptors.
Yeah.
Look at going back to the Dreadnoughts in the Black Reach.
You're out boys with Black Reach, wasn't it? We were all Slugger boys back in addition where really you want to shoot boys.
Yeah, so basically Codex Imperial Knights actually looks like it's going to be somewhat interesting this time around with some variety to it.
And just the stratagems and the ability of getting houses, it's just going to make it so much...
It'll just be a codex for a change rather than I've got a codex so I can run this guy. Yeah, the Imperial Knights one's quite good. I think is it the Death Watch one that's coming out as well? I'm quite interested.
And then Death Watch. Yeah. Now they
get Primaris Marines.
Yeah, that's the main key thing of interest that's been announced for that is Primaris Marines are going to feature in the Death Watch book.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense. It's this weird little thing where it feels too soon for them to already be members of the Death Watch at Primaris.
No,
but
just what they'll do
in the narrative, they've been around for hundreds of years. They've been around for like 250 years.
No, what Global will done is they'll just turn up and go, hey, you elitist guys, just order 3 soldiers without putting them from chapters. And they won't be chapter specific. I reckon they'll just be Death Watch.
Yeah, you reckon you'll just have Black Shield, Primaris, because they never had a chapter.
Yeah, there'll be all of a sudden an abundance of Ultramarines in the Death Watch.
All loyal to Gulliman.
Gus Ultramarines.
So when Gulliman orders 66s, there's no one to argue.
Apart from the other 1,000 marine, well, the other 500 marines potentially within the chapter.
Which are all stationed directly in front of the Primaris Marines.
What this means it's going to be interesting on the tabletop is you're going to have mixed units that contain Primus Marines and non-Primus Marines.
You're not, though, are you?
Because they will just contain Primus Marines.
You're not.
I hope they don't make them like veteran Primus Marines, so they've got like 3 attacks each, basically.
I get what you're saying. In theory, that'd be cool. Well, you're not going to see that, are you, Hillary? Well, let's be honest. If I can put unit Primus Marines down, I can put 4 Primus and a tactical Marine in there. Why?
Do you know what I'd love to see though now, just for the sheer absurdity of it, seeing a unit that contains all the different varieties of Death Watch. So you have your tactical Death Watch, your Devi Death Watch, your Jump Pack Death Watch, your Bike Death Watch, and your Terminator Death Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then in addition to those 5 different kinds of Marines in this one squad, you then add a Primaris, an Interceptor suit Primaris,
right,
an Aggressor suit Primaris, and a Reaver with a drop shoot. It's just like, I have like 9 to 10 different physical suits and makeups of power armor here.
Librarians, you used to be able to have librarians and chaplains, didn't they?
Yep.
Do you know, I think it'd be really funny to see 4 Primaris Marines led by a standard armour pattern sergeant.
Yes. That'd be quite funny, actually. Just 4 Primus Marines and you'd have
my
Oh
god, how good is a Primus Marine going to look with a heavy Thunderhammer, potentially?
Or frag cannon.
The heavy Thunderhammer's going to have a jet engine on the back. Primus Marine.
The heavy Thunderhammer is just going to be off the arm of a dreadnought.
See, you'd think having a
led by Sergeant Genericus.
Sergeant Genericus.
Who is just a normal scale Marine.
He gets everywhere,
He's not Primaris, and he has a power sword. That's what I'd lead him with, because he leads from the back. His screening unit is his unit.
Yeah, you just got a sergeant with like an extra 8 wounds.
Yeah.
What it does mean, and what will be interesting, is presumably...
I wonder if they'll get with the Pulsar and the Dreadnought then.
Well, I was about to say, presumably this means that Primaris Marines will be capable of being transported in the Corvus Blackstar. So you'll be able to actually have your Primaris in an aircraft.
Yeah, because that can have bikes in it.
Yeah, so it can presumably fit a Primaris.
No! Oh, I want to see flying Primaris Marines.
I do. That's my next time.
Obviously, I know you do, so Brett's going to rock up with a flying Primaris Death Watch.
Yeah, I've got Minotaur on me.
Can you at least have him led by Sergeant Genericus?
Doing
funny.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool having the Primus Marines led by a Terminator. That would look cool.
Yeah, it'd look cool. I'm saying it'd look funny.
Yeah.
You could go one step further. Just have your entire army.
Led by a biker.
No.
Keep up, boys.
For the Death Watch show, it's how you have a Terminator and a bike in a squad, and you can just see them like looking at each other, thinking, "Who the hell came up with this?
Yeah,
who thought this was a good idea?"
Captain Genericus. Me.
Good old Captain Genericus.
Yeah, conquered thousands of worlds.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to see how they integrate the Primaris Marines exactly into the Death Watch. I think it's going to be interesting. And then the other amazing thing that Games Workshop announced last week, the eventual conception of the Plastic Sisters.
It's happening in 2019.
Potentially.
With possible delays, but we're not confirming whether or not there will be delays, but you will have Plastic Sisters.
Yeah, but what they could do is, and on the 30th of December 2019...
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a Christmas release. Like, anyone who thinks it's not a Christmas release is living in La La Land. We've kept people waiting for like 20 years. We're going to release it at Christmas and just watch as people bankrupt themselves.
Going off the new model range and how good like the Sisters Asylums are, how good is an entire new range from Games Workshop going to be?
It's going to look amazing.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I'm really tempted when they do it together.
I won't be surprised if, me too. I won't be surprised if entire play groups just get like sisters.
I've always liked them, I just couldn't afford them.
It's a shame that it's going to be...
I think their armour... I think their armour is cool. The one thing that I've never particularly liked with the sisters is their standard haircut, you know, the crop do. When you see like the Escher gangs and stuff like that come out now, and you see like what they can actually do with modelling and what they can do with hair, you know, it'd be really cool to see some different hairstyles within...
I kind of thought we'd keep the hairstyle.
No, but I mean like shaved head, like women with full-on shaved heads, or like the Sisters of Silence have the top knots and just... You know, like half-shaved head. You know, like the punk look, like half-shaved head with it going over to one side, like the Escher gangs and stuff. Having that, and like badass-looking women within sisters, not like almost like the male military do, because Marines, you don't have that Marines. They don't just all have like short sides, hair on top.
No, they don't.
You know, you've got loads of different hairstyles. That's what I mean, Space Wolves has loads of different
mohawks,
beards, mohawks, So to see a diverse woman range with that would be so cool. Like they've even done it with Tau. Tau have got different hair. You know, they've done more bareheaded guys with different faces, and you know, even down to like the nostril, like the nose gap is different size on different Tau and shapes. So I think they're going to look gorgeous.
It is something to look forward to, and it's like, oh my god, they're doing it. You know, just the fact it's actually happening.
Yeah, I'd just be happy to look at someone else's models in the group with them.
Yeah, to be fair, for me it was just a big thing about, oh my god, we're doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be a while yet, but they've essentially confirmed they're on the way. Like they don't know as yet exactly where and when they're going to land, other than a 2019 window. But what I'm expecting is...
I think they basically had a meeting and gone, right, when can we do this range by? You know, everyone's wanted this, right? Let's actually give the community what they want, and we'll announce that they're doing it to put all the, you know, the comments to bed, like, oh, Plastic Sisters, because they must get 50 comments whenever they do post them on social media. And they're basically going, right, we'll put all that to bed and we'll give something people to look forward to.
But yeah, I would say, because we've known we're doing it for at least a year.
And to keep...
we're doing it from at least 2017. Everything's 2 years, 3 years in advance.
Well, and to keep people in the hobby, because if someone's thinking, right, if I don't get Plastic Sisters in 8th edition, that's it, I'm out. You know, they're basically saying, look, hold on, we're on with them, but, you know, it's a full new range. We're also trying to do stuff with Sigmar. We're also trying to get these codexes out. You know, we're also trying to do all these new box sets and stuff, you know. Just bear with us, guys, and, you know, they're doing better than ever, you know. Hats off to Games Workshop, you know, money out my wallet, you know, you're doing great, you know. Keep up whatever you're doing, because it you know, I've never enjoyed playing Warhammer so much. I couldn't even tell you a time where I could say before I'd had 5 games in 3 weeks.
No.
So yeah, plenty of, you know, interesting new things to look forward to in the next couple of months. Certainly some interesting new model range next year. And I can't wait to see what Games Workshop's going to do with codexes and army releases for the next 6 months, because I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I think this hobby's only going to get better.
Yeah, it is.
Which is fantastic, except for my wallet.
Yeah, as always. Great time to be playing the hobby. Horrible time to have to pay bills. So guys, this has been episode 10 of the Vox Chatter Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us again and listening to the show. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to give it a like, or help spread the word and share it with your friends and local hobby group. It really does help support the show. As always, be sure to leave your comments below and let us know your thoughts on how you go about building army lists. If you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, be sure to include them, as we are always looking for great ideas to discuss on the show. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss an episode, or alternatively, if you enjoy video games, why not check out my weekly Let's Plays and other gaming videos. You might just find something else you enjoy over on my channel. Finally, you can also follow me on Twitter @Countillery for daily hobby news and shenanigans. Thanks for listening guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.